Hello and good morning, grade 9 students. Today we have a new topic and it's about ionizing and non-ionizing electromagnetic waves. For our intention, competency, gather information from secondary sources to explain the harmful effects that EMR can have on living things. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to, number 1, explain the biological effects of ionizing radiation, for example, DNA mutation and cell death, versus the non-ionizing radiation, for example, thermal heating on living tissues. Second, gather, organize, and synthesize relevant data from reliable secondary sources to present a clear summary of EMR health risk. And lastly, advocate for personal and community safety protocols by proposing practical, evidence-based measures to minimize unnecessary radiation exposure in their households. Think about it. If you're exposed to all three of these items for 5 hours straight today, which one poses the most immediate hazard to your internal organs? And why do you think so? And then, which one protects you from radiation? So we will have an initial activity, think, pair, share. So pair with your classmate and ponder about those questions. After 2 minutes, write your answers on the board. And now for unlocking of difficulties, we will have a simple game. It's called 4 Picks, 1 Word. So there are 4 sets of pictures, and then that 4 pictures represent a word or 2 words. So first, what do you think these 4 pictures represent? Okay, so it represents electromagnetic spectrum. Next, so we have here some helical structure, a cell, and then this base pair. So the answer is DNA. Next, so again, there's a picture base cell, and then we have change in color of the chameleon, and then change in color of the leaves, and then the change in the color of the eye of the fly. So the answer is mutation. Next, so we have here the sun, and then rashes, red skin. So the answer is sunburn. Next, cloudy eye. So the answer is cataract. And then we have here 4 pictures about heat. So the answer is thermal effect. So we will meet all of these words in our next activity. So for our learning experience, the title of our activity is The Electromagnetic Radiation Data Detectives. Materials, secondary sources like excerpts from the World Health Organization or WHO and the Department of Health. Your teacher will give you secondary source packet containing simplified text excerpts from the World Health Organization and the Department of Health. So groups must read the sources to extract facts and fill out the EMR risk matrix provided below. So first we have the EMR type and then the source of data. And then we have a question, is it ionizing or non-ionizing? What is its cellular and biological effect? And then some recommended safety action. Do that for microwave, UV rays, X-rays, and gamma rays. So this is the expected output. For microwave, the source of data is WHO fact sheet number 193. So there is a question, is it ionizing or non-ionizing? So microwave is non-ionizing. Next, cellular or biological effect. So its effect is thermal effect. or tissue heating. Next, localized burns in delicate organs with poor blood flow, like the lens of the eye. Next, what should be the recommended safety action? First, ensure protective casing on household appliances to avoid burns. Second, maintain a safe distance of at least 30 centimeters from active industrial transmitters. Next is ultraviolet rays. So the source of data is Department of Health Public Health Advisory. So is UV rays ionizing or non-ionizing? So the answer is it's actually a borderline because sometimes it behaves as ionizing on cells. So what are its biological effects? So first is sunburn. Next, it destroys collagen, causing premature skin aging. Next, mutates skin cell DNA. It leads to skin cancer. Next is accelerates cataracts or eye lens clouding. So what should we do to avoid these cellular or biological effects? First is limit outdoor activity between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Next, whenever you are outside, apply sunscreen with SPF 30 or higher. And then, wear wide-brimmed hats and UV blocking sunglasses. Next is X-rays. So the source of data is ICRP Educational Guide. ICRP means International Commission on Radiological Protection. So X-ray is ionizing. Next, biological effects. So X-rays can knock electrons out of orbit. So it means ionization. So when an electron is knocked out from its orbit, the atom becomes charged or it becomes an ion. Next, another effect is it causes direct breaks in the DNA strands. So DNA strands, when they are broken, they become harmful, especially if they are not repaired by the DNA mechanisms. Next, it creates genetic mutations that multiply the risk of malignant tumors. So safety actions. So the radiologic technologists must step behind concrete or lead-lined shields. Drape patients with a heavy load of apron over reproductive and thyroid organs. And then for gamma rays, so gamma ray is the electromagnetic wave with the highest frequency. So the source of data is the Global Nuclear Safety Council Bulletin. So it is ionizing. Its effect includes widespread chaotic ionization causing massive immediate cell death. Another effect is acute radiation sickness or internal bleeding, hair loss, and destruction of bone marrow. So what is the recommended safety action? So we should block waves using thick, dense shielding materials such as several inches of solid lead or several feet of heavy concrete walls. The non-ionizing waves have lower energy and longer wavelength. And the ionizing waves have higher energy, shorter wavelength, and higher frequency. The non-ionizing waves includes radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, and a boundary between the ultraviolet radiation. And the ionizing waves includes some part of the ultraviolet radiation, and then it also includes X-rays and gamma rays. Non-ionizing waves includes radio, microwave, and infrared, causes molecules to vibrate and generate heat or what we call thermal effect, but cannot shatter DNA or trigger cancer the way ionizing radiation does. So this image shows the different waves that are non-ionizing. For example, cell phone towers, TV broadcasts, wireless internet, radars, Bluetooth speakers, laptops, radios, microwave ovens, and your cell phones. Among examples of non-ionizing waves are microwaves and infrared. These waves cause molecules to vibrate, which generates heat. High exposure to microwaves can cause thermal damage or heating to living tissues, particularly tissues with poor blood flow, like the lenses of our eyes. Example of effects of microwave infrared is thermal damage or burns in the skin. Next is the visible light. Extremely intense visible light, like looking directly at a laser pointer or the sun, can permanently burn the retina of our eyes. Next, staring at a small, brightly lit screen for long hours causes symptoms like dry eyes, blurred vision, and headaches. Next is ionizing waves. So high-frequency waves such as UV, X-ray, and gamma rays carry enough quantum energy to rip electrons out of atoms, breaking the chemical bonds inside the DNA strands. So when the wave hits the electron, sometimes it knocks it out of its orbit, and this causes the atom to have a charge and it becomes ion. That's why it is called ionizing waves. Example of ionizing waves include the ultraviolet radiation. Harmful effect. UV rays from the sun or tanning beds cause sunburn in the short term. Over time, it destroys collagen, causing skin to wrinkle and age prematurely. Most critically, it mutates skin cells, leading to skin cancer and causes clouding of the eyelids, known as cataracts. So this is an example of sunburn, and this is an example of cataract or the clouding of the eye caused by ultraviolet rays. Next is X-rays. Harmful effects. Because they pass through soft tissue, they can alter cells deep inside the body. Excessive exposure increases the long-term risk of developing cancer and can damage reproductive cells, potentially leading to genetic defects in future generations. So when the radiation source hits the cells, sometimes it causes damage in the DNA. And when that cell multiplied, it becomes cancer cell. And when that cancer cell multiplied, it causes tumor. So cancer cells potentially lead to genetic defects in future generations, especially if the cell that got defect is reproductive cell or sperm cells and egg cell. And for gamma radiation, its harmful effects include: as the most energetic wave, gamma rays penetrate deeply into the human body. They can cause radiation sickness or acute symptoms like nausea, hair loss, and severe internal tissue destruction, and cause catastrophic damage to bone marrow and DNA, leading to death or severe cancers. So this is radiation sickness, and exposure to gamma rays can lead to death or severe cancers. So for application, we have a situation. Your younger sibling wants to play mobile games outside under the midday sun, 12 p.m. or 12 high noon, while the phone is plugged into a power bank, generating noticeable heat. Guide question: based on the secondary sources you read, what two distinct EMR risks are present? And how will you convince your brother to step inside? So for our answer key, there are two distinct electromagnetic radiation risks in this situation. First is ultraviolet radiation from the midday sun. At around 12 p.m., the sun's UV rays are strongest. Prolonged exposure can cause sunburn, skin damage, eye damage, and increase the risk of skin cancer over time. Next, heat or infrared radiation from the phone and power bank. A phone that is charging while being used for gaming can become very hot. The heat produced, mainly infrared radiation, may cause skin discomfort or minor burns. So how are you going to convince your brother to go inside? So you will say, let's go inside where it's cooler. Playing under the midday sun exposes you to harmful UV rays that can damage your skin and eyes. Your phone is also getting hot because you're charging it while playing, which can overheat the battery and may even damage the phone. It is safer and more comfortable to play indoors after the phone has cooled down. Let's wrap up our learnings. Electromagnetic radiation has many useful applications in our daily lives. However, excessive exposure to some types of electromagnetic waves, especially UV rays, X-rays, and gamma rays, can harm living organisms. Reliable secondary sources provide evidence-based information that helps us understand this risk and practice appropriate safety measures. The higher the frequency of the EMR, the greater its energy, and the more destructive it is to the living tissue and DNA of organism. And now for our assessment, get your notebooks and your pen. It's time for assessment. Number 1. Which type of electromagnetic radiation has enough energy to remove electrons from atoms, causing damage to living tissue? A. Radio waves, B. Microwaves, C. X-rays, or D. Infrared. Number 2. Prolonged, unprotected exposure to UV radiation from the sun can primarily cause which one of the following conditions? A. Internal radiation sickness, B. Skin cancer and cataracts, C. Immediate destruction of bone marrow, or D. Instant cellular heating without cellular damage. Number 3. What is the main danger associated with the thermal effect of high-exposure non-ionizing radiation like microwaves? A. It hits and damages delicate living tissues lacking good blood circulation. B. It causes immediate hair loss and nausea. C. It alters the genetic code of DNA. Or D. It triggers mutations leading to malignant tumors. Number 4. Why are gamma rays considered far more lethal to living organisms than visible light waves? A. Gamma rays have longer wavelengths that crush cells. B. Gamma rays only affect the outermost dead layer of skin. C. Visible light is completely absorbed by air before reaching the body. D. Gamma rays carry much higher frequency and energy, allowing them to ionize atoms and destroy deep tissue. Number 5. A radiologic technologist wears a lead apron while operating an X-ray machine. What scientific fact justifies this safety protocol? A. Lead prevents the visible light of the machine from blinding the eyes. B. Lead absorbs ionizing radiation, stopping it from penetrating the text body and causing cellular mutations over time. Letter C. Lead keeps the technologist cool from the thermal heat of the X-ray. Or D. Lead increases the speed of the X-ray waves through the patient. So for answer key number 1, the correct answer is C. X-rays. X-rays fall under ionizing radiation, meaning they possess high energy capable of stripping electrons from atoms, unlike radio waves, microwaves, or infrared. Number 2, the correct answer is B. Skin cancer and cataracts. Secondary medical sources establish that UV radiation targets the skin and eyes, causing mutations that lead to cancers and the clouding of the eyelids or cataracts. Number 3, it hits and damages delicate living tissues lacking good blood circulation. So the non-ionizing EMR cannot mutate DNA, but it can heat up water molecules inside tissues, posing a threat of internal thermal burns. Number 4, the correct answer is D. Gamma rays carry much higher frequency and energy, allowing them to ionize atom and destroy deep tissue DNA. Number 5, letter B. Lead absorbs ionizing radiation, stopping it from penetrating the text body and causing cellular mutations over time. Because X-rays are ionizing and cumulative in risk, heavy dense materials like lead are required to shield healthcare workers from repeated harmful daily exposure. And now for our ways forward, your task is create a 3-bullet point household EMR safety guide on an index card. Paste this card at home, near an appliance or charging station. The guide must list practical rules for their family based on evidence. Example, using umbrellas during local high UV index days, keeping devices away from the pillow while sleeping to reduce thermal tissue exposure. Remember, choose your influences wisely. Even in the electromagnetic spectrum, the most powerful waves can either heal or harm depending on how they are used. Thank you for your support. Please like and subscribe to Sir Dom's Vlogs. See you next lesson. Goodbye!